Welcome back to Behind Closed Doors with your host, Ren. Today's episode, we're going to talk about being an audacious fucking bitch. Enough said. Strap on in. The reason why I want to speak to this is because so many of you are fucking around and finding out. There is this level of desire, dreams, aspirations that you are craving. You want. You put it on your vision board every single fucking month. Yeah? We can see it. We know what it is. And then it's like, oh, I just don't think I can have that thing, or da-da-da-da. And I'm here to teach you exactly how to do the fucking opposite. Because in a world which is created to make it harder for you to win, let me teach you the cheat code so you can get everything you fucking want. First thing is recognizing that audacity is a choice, okay? Everyone's like, confidence is a feeling, it's a skill set, you have to learn and develop it, da-da-da-da. Pause. No. Having audacity requires you to make a decision that you are now becoming an audacious bitch, right? Everything that you want is on the other side of you making a decision that you are now that person. What I mean by this is a lot of the people-pleasing tendencies, a lot of the lack of boundaries, lack of self-assurance, lack of standards that you are currently stuck in is a choice, right? And it's on the other side of getting very fucking real with yourself and getting super uncomfortable and recognizing where you are choosing to suffer. And we are 2 minutes and 21 motherfucking seconds in, and we are going hard. And the reason being is I need you to understand that no one is stopping you more than yourself. There is no one who is secretly on the sidelines preying on your downfall, and if they are, fucking losers. But no one is secretly preying on your downfall or like in their fucking kitchen doing spells, like making sure that you don't get the things that you want. No. The only person who's doing that, babe, is you. The only person who doesn't believe in themselves is you. And when we don't inherently believe in ourselves and we don't feel like we can have those things because we don't understand that it's not a feeling, it's a choice, that's when we stop actually getting the shit we want out of life. So I really want to drill into your little tiny brain, okay, your little pea-sized brain, that becoming more audacious, becoming more confident, being the brat, being demanding, getting everything you want is a choice, which means you have to choose to not entertain anything else. You have to recognize that every single thing you want, every single thing you crave, like we said at the start, right? Putting that shit on your vision board, choose to become the woman who gets it. Which again, fucking the love and light off. This is not me telling you to like step into this identity and like call in your highest vibration. I'm telling you to take some action towards the shit you want. Because if you're not taking the fucking action, nothing is going to fall in your lap. No matter how demanding you are, no matter how much of a brat you are, no matter how many fucking vision boards you make, how many subliminals or daily affirmations you listen to. If you are not actively taking risks, big risks, which support where you want to be, you're not going to get to where you want to be. And I know we hear that all the time, but for some of you, it really needs to be drilled into your brain. If you want a different life, you need to do different things. You need to change your behavior, change your routines, upgrade your fucking standards so you no longer settle as the woman who is like kind of confident in her life and like kind of gets what she wants, right? That timid energy, fuck it off. In my world, it's a choice. So when I wake up in the morning and I go, because I do this, and I love that I do this, I go, good morning, you're a sexy fucking bitch. What do you want today? Right? So when I ask myself that question, the answer that then follows is me making a conscious choice to get that thing. So it's like, I want more money today, or I want to be more magnetic, or universe, show me how hot I am. Show me the opportunities that fall into my lap, right? And then when the fucking tradespeople come into my house randomly on a random day and they're flirting with me and we're chatting back and forth, that shows me that I'm more magnetic. But I won't be able to get those things that I want. I won't be able to make more money or sign clients or just feel fucking good in myself if I don't recognize that it is a choice. You literally step into that. It's a decision. It's not umming and ahhing or questioning yourself or arguing with the thoughts in your head back and forth. It's a conscious choice that you make. So are you going to be more audacious and confident today, or are you going to stay insecure and stuck in that that fucking loop. I was going to say brain loop, but that's what it is essentially. Stuck in that loop, that subconscious belief system of like, I'm not good enough, I'm not worthy. That's the first thing I want you to understand, okay? Choice. And what this does is highlight to you where you actually fuck around and find out, where you play the victim, where you pretend like what you want is too much, it's too big. And I see this a lot. People make a lot of excuses for their own life, for other people's lives, and it just reinforces that you think that it's anything other than a choice. Because yes, it's hard. Yes, it's uncomfortable. Yes, it's going to feel scary. You're going to have to take big risks. You're going to have to jump. You're going to have to trust yourself. But do you know what else? If you don't do that, it's still going to fucking suck. This is why I always say to people like, pick your heart, pick your battle. What is the thing, dude? Because you've told me you want XYZ, but you're afraid to do it. So do you want to stay afraid, or do we want to change the one thing in our life which is going to catapult us into our next reality? And I mean that in the most grounded fucking way possible. None of this love and light shit, okay? I mean in the sense of like there is a breakup, a job, a hard conversation. Maybe you need to get your fat ass into the gym. Whatever the thing is. Maybe you need to go through your wardrobe, clear it out, and actually recognize that how you're dressing is completely against who you want to be. Okay? Whatever your thing is, there is something that you need to do, an action that you need to take in order to get what you fucking want, and you keep putting it off. And then we make excuses and we argue with our thoughts back and forth, and we try and justify why there is a reason as to why we can't do what we want. That is not a woman who makes a decision. That is a woman who sits in a fucking procrastination loop. But what if this and what if that? There is none of that. Okay? So first thing to being an audacious bitch, make the decision. Block your ex. Make the decision to be the fucking audacious bitch that you deserve to be. And then learn to move through all of those other feelings in the process of becoming that person. Second thing, people-pleasing tendencies are manipulation to their core. I've said this before and I'll fucking say it again. If you come at me and you're like, I'm a people pleaser and, I just want everyone to get along and I don't want to rock the boat, ruffle feathers, you don't want to be perceived as a bitch. That's your problem. You don't want mummy and daddy or your partner or your best friend or the people from fucking high school or social media to recognize that you are actually very confident, very audacious, and you know what you want and you go after it. The reason being is because we don't know how people will handle that. Because if we're always hanging out with insecure people who lack momentum, they lack that drive, that ambition, and you are an ambitious fucking woman, it's going to be very difficult for you to see that there is safety in being yourself. Because if everyone is insecure and we're all lacking money and we all hate ourselves and all of our relationships are shit, you standing up and going, actually, I don't want that narrative for my life. You guys suffer for fun. I don't fucking want that. Guess what's going to happen? It's going to feel uncomfortable because there's going to be no evidence that that is a safe thing for you to do. So this is where a lot of people get to this point, right? And they go, okay, well, there's no evidence, and like I don't know how that's going to look, and like what if they don't like me, and da, da, da. Pause. The only way to create new evidence is to create space. The only way to create space is to make a decision to action something. Right? So you can either be sitting with all of this anxiety, all of this fear, all of this worry in your life, like you have been for a really long time. Or you can use that as momentum and you can go, I have no evidence that being myself is safe. I have zero evidence that being ambitious and confident is going to keep people around. But do you know what I do have evidence in? That this life fucking sucks. This life sucks. You gossiping with your best fucking friend, going out for drinks, doing drugs, you're sitting and you're complaining about your life. It feels good, right? Because it's relatable. It makes you feel seen and heard. But to your core, you're unhappy. So we have evidence that this doesn't support us. So staying in that to continue people pleasing, to continue to be relatable, to continue to reinforce that narrative is borderline the dumbest fucking thing that we can do. And we do it because we want to be relatable. We do it because we want that community. We want to be heard. We want to feel seen. But that's not going to get you what you want, dude. That's going to keep you suffering. And here's the thing. You already know that. You already know that. So my question to you is, how long do we keep doing the same shit we know doesn't work? How long? Because for as long as you choose that path versus taking big risks, being afraid, exposing yourself, feeling embarrassment, judgment, whatever, you will always settle. I cannot express that enough. And this conversation makes me so passionate because I see it every fucking day. It's all these incredibly ambitious women, amazing, thriving, vivacious, right? And you're settling. And I just want to smack you in your face and go, hey, that doesn't have to be your life. That doesn't have to be your reality. You are actually allowed to get everything you fucking want. And it's on the other side of you being a people pleaser. It's on the other side of you trying to manipulate how people perceive and see you so you can actually be yourself. Because pretending like you're less confident, pretending like you don't like yourself, right? Pretending that you're unhappy when in reality you are actually doing really well. And for the first time in your life, you're actually really solid in who you are. And you know who you are and you trust who you are. Pretending to be the opposite to make other people comfortable is not your job. Not having boundaries and standards is not you being a good person. That's you fucking manipulating the shit out of people because you don't want to come across as a bitch. But if I have learned anything, coming across as a direct bitch, an asshole, someone who is high maintenance, very demanding, oh my God, the world revolves around Ren. Coming across as that versus the opposite is what I strive for. Because I want you to know that you can't fuck with me. I want you to know that I'm not going to change my standards, my thoughts, my feelings, my routines to give my all to you. I need you to understand that. And so in order to become more audacious, to be the woman who fucking gets all that she craves, you have to be okay with disappointing people. You have to be okay with putting yourself first. And don't get me wrong, like at the start, it's the most fucking uncomfortable thing you will ever do. Ever. Disappointing your mom, your family, your best friend, your partner, the people that you're seeing, like everyone. To disappoint people is to highlight where we feel shame. We feel bad for putting ourselves first, especially as eldest daughters, especially as parentified children. You grow up in a family dynamic where putting your needs aside benefits the collective. It benefits everyone else. So then you learn through pattern recognition that that's a really good thing to do. But it's not, because it fucking takes away from your life. So if you actually want to get everything you want, in a very simple sense, you need to learn to disappoint people. Be inconvenient. Piss people off, raise the fucking standards, cut people off, tell people no. Because if you don't, you're always going to feel stuck because you're never being authentically you. You are never being direct. You are never going after what you want because you're so fucking worried about how everyone else is going to think and feel and see you. And that's fine if that is where you want to be in life. But if you don't, the only way is to do the opposite. And this is what people call rewiring the brain, rewiring the nervous system. In a very simple sense, you need to do the opposite of said behavior. So if you are a chronic people pleaser, instead of saying yes, you need to pause and go, I'll get back to you. That is you rewiring the exact behavior which has kept you in a loop in real fucking time. That is you taking conscious action towards becoming the woman who XYZs. This is what people don't teach you. We talk about rewiring the brain, rewiring the nervous system, changing the behavior. But what does that actually look like? That looks like you going, I don't know, for example, going on a date and sitting at the date and knowing in your gut that that person is not for you. And instead of going, this has been really fun, like, I'm just going to like continue doing the thing. You stand up and you go, hey, I'm so sorry, but like we're just actually not, this isn't happening right now. And you leave. It's you knowing that your relationship or friendships are draining you and you have the hard conversation. It's knowing that you are addicted to chaos and you love the hot and cold cat and mouse chase thing, and it's blocking people instead. So you stop being enticed to that behavior, which keeps you in those loops. That's the fucking changed behavior. It's not sitting there and fucking tapping on your meridian points and going, I am open to receiving money. It's looking at your finances and taking yourself fucking seriously. That's the actual change behavior, which is going to get you to where you want to go. But the first thing you have to recognize with that is that you have got to disappoint people in the process. It's a choice. Disappointment is the fucking key. And then you will get everything you want. And I think the third thing that I want to talk about is just being so solid in that decision. What I mean by this is a lot of us can feel solid. A lot of us can perform feeling solid and knowing who we are and trusting who we are and whatnot. And then someone questions it and you fucking crumble. It's like, I want to casually date. And then someone's like, but you should really settle down. And you're like, I don't want to fucking settle down, cunt. I couldn't think of anything worse. I want to casually date. And they're like, yeah, but it's so important that you find someone, da, da, da. But I don't want to. And here's the thing. A lot of us, because we want that relatability, because we want to feel seen, we want to feel heard, we want to feel supported in our experience, right? It's like the fucking 4 main hierarchy of our needs. We want to feel seen, we want to feel supported, we want to feel loved, all of those things. Because of those innate needs that we crave as humans, right? This is not some like weird protective behavior. This is exactly how we are wired. Because of that innate need, you are more than likely going to listen to other people's thoughts, feelings, and projections on your life. And that can tend to sway us in a direction which actually takes away from what we want. And a perfect example is I had a client and she got out of a relationship and for like 6 months or whatever was like doing her own thing in the house, yada, yada, yada. She said to me, Ren, I really want to start dating again. Like, I don't want to find my husband right now, but I do want to put myself out there. I do want to explore, have casual sex, and like just understand what is right and what is wrong and what's good and bad for me and my body. Amazing. She goes to her friends. Guys, I'm going on 3 dates this weekend. Da-da-da-da-da. I'm super excited. These are the outfits I'm wearing, whatnot. Her friends turn around and basically just go, why are you doing that? Or like, why are you talking to 3 people at once? Just talk to one. Keep in mind, all of her friends are in committed long-term relationships, right? Now, I want you to imagine that you are in this situation. How would it feel to know that what you want, what you actually crave and desire on a fundamental level, that you have stopped pretending like you don't, okay? That thing, someone has now said to you that it's probably not a good idea that you have it. And we all want to feel heard and seen. We all want to feel validated and supported by our friends and family. So what are we going to do? We're going to start questioning whether our decision is the right decision based on other people's projections, feelings, thoughts, and opinions. But here's something that you really need to fucking understand. People can only give advice from their level of lived experience. That's it. No amount of textbooks, understanding, being educated in a field is going to, for me, qualify you to give me fucking life advice. The only way that I will pay attention to what you are saying is if you have lived experience in that thing. And this is what some of you don't realize, is 9 times out of 10, the people who are giving you advice, they don't have the lived experience in that thing at all. They have projections based on their perspectives, their thoughts, their belief systems, their religion, their fucking whatever. They have a concept that they have created based on what they've been through. But just because they can give you that advice or they can give you their opinion and go back and forth with their perspective doesn't mean that you need to change what you want because someone disagrees with it. And this is where we need to learn to be very solid in our decisions. Because if you're not solid in your decision, you are easily going to wobble. What this means in a very simple term is someone will have something to say about what you want and you'll go, oh, fuck, that's a terrible idea. And you shrink yourself and you go back into this old life because this old life reinforces what this person wants for you. Because if you are to get a different life, this person over here now needs to recognize where you got out. You stopped suffering for fun. You stopped pretending like life was difficult and hard and you didn't have choices and you played the victim. And they are still stuck in that. And that can be an extremely confronting thing for people to deal with. And this is why people give advice based on how they want you to live your life to benefit their life. So in order to get everything you want, you need to understand that. Like fundamentally understand that people will give their opinion, projection, and advice from their own preconceived idea of what life should look like. Not what is actually beneficial for you. And there's nothing wrong with sitting there and hearing all of this and just in yourself going, but I disagree. And I feel quite solid in my decision. And I'm actually not going to let anyone tell me otherwise. And if it's wrong, great, you're going to learn a fucking lesson. If it's right, you're about to get everything you want because you weren't able to be wobbled by society, by your mom, by your dad, by your best friend. You weren't able to have someone come into your life and shake you and make you change who you fundamentally are and your dreams and your desires. And this is the number one thing I see with the clients that I work with. We have dreams, desires, aspirations, needs. And we don't feel safe enough in ourself, solid enough in ourself to advocate for said needs. So our needs will never actually be met. And that's why women get tired, resentful, exhausted, frustrated. It's why you feel like you're burnt out and you're like fucking burning the match to the end. That's what it feels like because you, in that moment, could not be solid with your decision, your thoughts, your feelings, and you let someone else tell you how to live your life. And that stops you from being authentic. That actually stops you from experiencing what you are allowed to fucking experience. And dating is a very simple example, but it's even, I just feel like that's the place where I have the most lived experience is dating and relationships, friendships, just relationship dynamics in general, right? And even for me, like leaving my relationship, so many people were like, terrible idea. Don't do that. Work through it. You know, relationships are hard. They require work. And in myself, so solid in my decision. So at what point do we listen to ourselves? Because being audacious, being the woman who gets every fucking thing she wants on a silver platter, requires you to be very solid in what you want and continue advocating for that. Because if you don't, you're going to be easily manipulated into living a life which supports other people's experience. And this is where we need to recognize that, like, naturally, we're very selfish creatures. We want things to work out for our benefit. We want to try and control and change people for our benefit because it makes us feel better about our experience instead of zooming out and recognizing that there's a lesson to be learnt here. Maybe you need to level up with that person. Maybe instead of projecting your thoughts and feelings, you need to join the fucking club. Maybe you need to zoom out and ask yourself, do I actually, flipping the switch now, do I actually believe what that person is saying to be true? Are they a congruent human? Does their life reflect what they are saying? Or are they just fucking yipping and yapping? And if you do those three fundamental things, you will become so fucking audacious and so confident and actually get everything you want because you're taking action. You've made the you're taking action. You've made the decision. You're trusting yourself. You're disappointing people. And at the end of the day, you are honoring your needs more than honoring other people's wants. That's the cheat code. And I don't know why that's such a fucking complicated thing for people to grasp. It's like we're teaching it with this 50-part series energy and like decipher it. No. There is, I'd say probably 90% of you who are watching need to make a very fucking hard decision. That's it. It's not trying to understand people or excusing behavior or sitting with the feeling. No. And like actually fuck around and find out, or do this with me now. Get a piece of paper, pause the fucking video, get a piece of paper, sit down, write, what is the hard decision I need to make in my life in order to move my life forward today? You know. Don't fucking lie to me. You know. Whether it's a breakup, whether it's a hard conversation, whether you need to move cities, whether you need to get your finances right, you need to quit your job. Whatever the thing is, maybe you need to get divorced. Whatever the thing is, you know, write it down on that fucking piece of paper and circle it. Because every single time you pretend like you don't know what's going on, this thing that you've just written on that piece of paper runs your fucking life. Runs it. And no amount of excuses is going to change how you fundamentally feel about yourself when you look in the mirror. And we can all pretend and we can all perform, but if we really zoom out, that thing runs your life. And all your decisions, thoughts, feelings, belief systems reinforce that. And if you don't like that, do something different. Action the decision that needs to be made and watch your entire fucking life change in 30 days. Some of you need to understand that moving from a place of love and light or wanting to be better, wanting to cultivate the higher self energy is not going to do it for you. Some of you need to move from a place of you have been suffering for too long and now you need to fucking kick up the ass. Some of you need to move from a place of pain, disgust, embarrassment. Because that's your reality. Everything you say you don't want, you keep doing. So at what point are you going to call yourself the fuck out, look in the mirror and go, what the fuck are you doing? Because if you don't do that, nothing's going to change. And speaking from my experience, sometimes the feeling of disappointment or embarrassment or repetition of behavior, that moves that moves mountains for me. Being angry and frustrated that this is my reality and I fucked around in it for too long, that catapults me versus moving from a place of love, of desire, of wanting to be a better person. And this is why when you make your vision board every month, nothing fucking happens on your vision board. Because you're moving from a place of desire, dreams, aspirations, high vibe frequency, energetic kill me with a gun. Some of you need to kick up the ass so fucking hard that it pushes you into your next life because you keep creating excuses as to why you can't get it. And if you are aware enough to know the excuses as to why you can't get it, you are also aware enough to talk yourself out of it. And I did this for so many years. And I know you fucking do it too. It's like life isn't that bad though, right? It's better than my best friends. It's better than my moms. It's better than my dads. It's better than my families. In the grand scheme of things, I'm doing a lot better than most people would be able to handle. And that makes me feel really good. There's like this egotistical pull where I'm like, yes, I've done it. Da, 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 da. So then I can convince myself out of it. Because previously, that was a lot worse. So when I was like 20 kgs heavier and I didn't have any money to my name and I didn't know who I was and I was entertaining fuckboys, that version of Ren, oh honey, well we're not her, right? So we must be doing better than that. And we are doing better than that. But now we're comfortable. And this is where you need to lock the fuck in and hear what I'm saying. You are comfortable. And the comfort zone is going to kill your fucking dreams. The comfort zone is going to keep you so angry and so resentful because you know that shit needs to change and you're going to try and mold your old life, the version of you that you have completely and utterly outgrown, Hence why this decision feels so big, right? That version of you, you're going to mold her and you're going to try and fix her and change her. You're going to try wear the same clothes or fucking dye your hair or have the conversations that you feel comfortable having, but not the conversations that make you vulnerable. You're going to try and mold your new version with your old life, but that's not how it fucking works. You have to kill off this version, which means you need to grieve. You need to make hard decisions which feel like risky, right? You need to jump and catch yourself. And then we need to learn to not entertain this after the fact. And this is why it comes back to the first point of this podcast, which is everything is a conscious decision. Everything is a conscious decision. Because if you have the awareness to know there is a problem, you have the fucking awareness to know there is a solution. The two are not coexisting simultaneously at the same time for shits and giggles. If you can identify what's going wrong in your life to the point where you are bitching and moaning about it every single fucking day of your week, you are able to identify that the solution is also in your hands. And people don't like to sit with that truth because then what do you have to do? Take accountability and responsibility for the parts that you play in your suffering. And playing the victim is fun, right? It's fun, it's flirty, you don't have to do anything. You can like sit there and go like, well, it's just, it was him or it was her and it's just, I don't know what to do. You do know what to do. You're afraid to do it. And that is why people procrastinate the fuck out of their life. Because you know the decision, because you just wrote it on a piece of paper. Now you need to make the decision. So between the time, there's a parrot which has just landed on my thing, which is crazy. Hi, Queen. Between the moment, right? You know what needs to happen, and you make the decision. That is just you trying to negotiate with fear. That's it. Now, some of you will negotiate for 3 days, and some of you will negotiate for 13 fucking years. Some of you will pretend like this is the most tumultuous thing you have been through because that requires you to feel all your feelings and grieve everything versus knowing that this is probably the least fucking hardest thing you've been through and you just need to make a scary decision. And then once we make that decision, guess who can't play into the same old shit? You. That's why you're procrastinating. So in order to become an audacious fucking bitch who gets everything she wants, you need to understand that it comes back to making a conscious decision. That's it. And I need you to hear me when I say that. I feel like the parrot on the windowsill is a sign to wrap it up. So I love you guys so much. Thank you for being here. I hope this hits hard and I'll see you in the next one.